Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Hazenboro Craftworks here in the Hazenboro Homestead and our humble whiskey room. I'm the Alchemist. This week, we're knocking out my Bourbon Auto Whiskey Group's bourbons under $30. Following up from our budget bourbon week of last week, we started out with Jim Beam Black 7-year, and today we're going to take a look at Wild Turkey 101. Wild Turkey 101 has been a very famous bourbon for many, many years, but only nearly as legendary as their master distiller, Jimmy Russell. Jimmy Russell's been in the business watching over Wild Turkey for well over 60 years and has been joined by his son Eddie Russell for many years as well. Wild Turkey has an interesting story on how it got its name. There was a executive at Wild Turkey named Thomas McCarthy back in 1940. And McCarthy, he went on a, yeah, you guessed it, a turkey hunting trip with a bunch of buddies. And during that turkey hunting trip, he took samples of wild turkey with him. But at that time, it was just a new recipe whiskey. And after that hunting trip, a lot of his buddies asked him for more samples of that delicious wild turkey whiskey. And the name stuck. And then in 1943, they actually pinned the name officially, Wild Turkey, to that delicious whiskey, and thus the name Wild Turkey for this brand of whiskey. Now, what do we know about Wild Turkey? From the bottle, obviously, Wild Turkey 101, it's 101 proof. We don't get any mash bill information on here. It's a pretty closely guarded secret. But from the speculation we can find online, it's pretty dang close to the Jim Beam mash bill that we went over this week already. They got the same rye in there. So it's that high corn and gives it that sweetness. Another thing that we know about Wild Turkey that gives it its uniqueness is, in order to be a bourbon, you can't go into the barrel at any more than 125 proof. And this is what a lot of distilleries do. They throw their bourbon in right at 125 proof to try to get the most proof they can out of their whiskey and the most flavor out of their whiskey. But one thing that I found that Wild Turkey does is they throw their bourbon, their juice in the barrel at 115 proof, which is a little bit uncommon. And another thing they do to get their unique flavor profile of Wild Turkey that sets them apart from everyone is most people use a number 3 char on their white oak barrels. But Wild Turkey, they go for number 4, and it's called an alligator char. And the reason it's called an alligator char is that number 4 barrel gets that intense flame char for at least about 55 seconds. And that makes that char in that barrel flake up and raise up apart, giving it like a texture of alligator skin, calling it an alligator char. And that gives the inside of that barrel more surface area for that whiskey to have to get more flavor out of that barrel. And in theory, it takes away some more of the tannins and draws out more of the sweetness, more of the sugars from that American white oak, which is what is needed the American white oak barrels is what is needed to be considered a bourbon. So these are some of the secrets that Wild Turkey uses to give it its distinct flavor. So what is that distinct flavor that Wild Turkey 101 has over other bourbons under $30 that my friends in our Bourbon Auto group decided to choose it to put it in our 30 under $30 bourbons. Oh, wow. As our favorites. Sorry, got a little distracted by that nose. That sweetness comes out right away. That is like a really nice brown sugar and vanilla sweetness right off the bat. I mean, it hit me before I really got my nose in there. Wow, it's nice. Another thing that's nice is a nice amount of barrel and barrel spice, but it's not really hidden, but it's balanced nicely behind that delicious deep brown sugar and vanilla mixture. Wow, that's nice. Good start to an under $30 bottle. Okay, now on the palate, I have to say it's reversed. On the palate, that barrel comes out nicely. I really like that. I really like that. And on the front of the palate, then that brown sugar sweetness, that brown sugar sweetness and the vanilla on the front of the palate goes all the way down the back of the palate and down the throat. And that barrel is really staying like on the sides of my palate. And then just, I'd have to say almost dries it up in the back of the palate, but not really, because that sweetness stays there nicely. A nice viscosity. This is a really nice balance for a under $30 bottle. A really nice balance between that sweetness and barrel and a really good complexity for a under $30 bottle. I mean, it's surprisingly delicious. It's no wonder Wild Turkey 101 has the popularity that it has. In this price range, what a good treat. Really good treat. The Wild Turkey 101 is a bourbon under $30 that's going to stay on my whiskey wall. And I'd have to say a thank you to my Bourbonado friends for adding this one to the list. Happy that it made my pick for the week as one to try. And as you all know, I'd love to have you all coming back around. So please take it easy. Don't drink and drive. Cheers.